Good evening. It's Wednesday night, October 21st, and as you can see, we're down a man. Our leader is got the night off. He's got some personal business to take care of, so you're stuck with us. I'm Carl. That's Lauren. That's Anthony, and that's John. And John, you look like you're at the store. We got a lot of
Girls Cards. Great sponsor of the show.
We got a lot of changes going on. I'm home. You're at the store. Mario's got business to take care of, so we're gonna fly through this baby. So
at least Lauren and Anthony are in their right spot.
Yeah, right.
The ones who got it right this week.
Who wore it best? Who wore it best, Johnny? Number 35.
Well, 35 today. 34. Roy Halladay won. So he beat out Charles Barkley. That's terrible. But that's a bad Charles Barkley imitation as well. What's that?
Is that what that was?
That was an attempt at it. Yes.
Fair enough.
But Roy Halladay won. Well deserved as well. Tough one between the two of them. And this week we have an interesting matchup this week as well. I think we might have a little bit of bias on one end here, but we should be good to go. We got fan favorite Phillies, Cole Hamels, the 08 World Series champion, the MVP of the World Series, the NLCS MVP as well that year. Threw a no-hitter his last game as a Philly on July the 25th, 2015. And a no-hitter on September 4th, combined one down in Atlanta, a four-time All-Star as well. For the Eagles, we have Pete Pihos, the two-time NFL champions, 48 and 49, six-time Pro Bowler, three-time NFL receiving leader, also the two-time NFL receiving yards leader, Eagles Hall of Famer, member of the 75th anniversary Eagles team, and member of the 1940 All-Decade team for the Eagles, or for NFL. For the Flyers, we have that Sergei Bobrovsky. He spent a couple of years here with the Flyers. May have given up on him a little bit too early and got rid of him. Couple years here, and he moved on and had another successful career when he moved on from here as well. For the 76ers, we have that Clarence Weatherspoon, the poor man's Charles Barkley. He was a member of the second team All NBA rookie team. Played here for the '91 Pan Am Games. He won the bronze medal there, and he came from southern Mississippi. For the outsider, we have Mike Richter, the local boy, and he was a World Cup champion in '96, gold medalist there, silver medal in the '02 Olympics, three-time All-Star, won the Stanley Cup with the Rangers to break their curse. And he's also a member of the USA Hockey Hall of Fame. So we don't have Mario here today, so Carl, we'll start with you.
It's a no-brainer. I'll go Clarence Weather. No, I'm just kidding. Can't believe he's even on the ballot, but okay. It's all Cole. It's all Cole Hamels, 24/7, and yeah, got to be Cole, right, Lauren?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, what other option is there, or do I have in this case? So yeah, definitely Cole.
You're wearing the shirt. You know what I mean?
I am. Yes.
So
I am wearing the shirt.
we got Ginny on live tonight too. So I guess she's got a vested interest as well. So
well, I mean, Emily will do everything in her power to make sure that Cole does this. So no doubt about it.
I don't think she has to do too much to make that.
Well, I'm just saying, if he was up against more competition, she'd still make it happen. I'm certain of that.
She'd be running around Delco with handmade signs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Tony, who you
Yeah, it's easy. It's Cole Hamels. I love Mike Richter. I've met him a bunch of times. He's a nice guy, but Cole Hamels for sure.
John?
Go with the clean sweep here with Cole Hamels, of course. You can't say much more. 08 was special for here in Philadelphia. So he's definitely the man that we need to have, on this. Pete's got a good resume himself, but I don't know if most of our listeners are born in that time.
He does go back a few decades.
Yes, but Pete's got a good resume himself. But Cole Hamels, definitely all the time, right there.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I don't know what he had to do with getting out of Philadelphia. I'm not, behind the scenes. I don't know, if he pushed pushed management to trade him. Because I know our good friend Ruben. I guess that was probably his last deal. But it didn't turn out very well for the Phillies with the players that they got back.
No. I mean, I think they needed to rebuild, and that was the only piece that they had at that time left to move on from. And he had a friendly contract, I guess, for at the time with the club. So it's a shame that he had to leave because he would have been nice to have here, but times between 2015 and now were a little slim picking for him. So, I'm sure he was okay with the move going out of here as well, going through that rebuild.
Yep.
That he got to, play for the Cubs and Texas down there for a little while. To have, somewhat of a playoff atmosphere still going later in his career. So,
yep.
It's probably a good move for both sides.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we didn't able to get the players to, to help our team like we would hope out of that deal.
So, Anthony, the question I have for you is, I guess we have to wait for him to retire, and then the Fightins would bring him in their Wall of Fame.
Yeah, I imagine it would happen sometime. I mean, he only was on our team for, I forget, maybe 7 games or so. I mean, he moved.
Yeah.
He moved quickly. He might have only pitched in Reading once, I think, because all the photos we have are from the same day. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, it would happen, but we usually try not to do it until they're fully done playing. And I imagine he's got a couple years left. So
you think?
Yeah. I think he's gonna. Personally, I think he'll end up throwing at least the last year with the Phillies, or at least do like a 1-day contract or something like that. And sort of end it like that. But yeah, I think he has a couple years left, I think.
Okay.
What, John, was a 1-year deal with the Braves this year? Is that what that was?
Yeah. So he's a free agent again at the end of this year.
Right.
So it might be a good PR move for the Phillies to bring him back as a an inexpensive 4 or 5 in the rotation.
If he's willing to do that, I don't know that, I think his contract was about 18, 19 million. So I don't know that would have been the cheaper poor man's guy for us. So,
but he might be willing to take a hometown discount to come back to Philly, especially if you're, considered a playoff team, maybe. Am I reaching for the sky?
I don't
talking
think
about the Phillies.
I don't think so. I mean, what would it wouldn't hurt you that much if he was to take a $5 or $7 million deal to play
Right.
here. I mean, he lives right down the street. It's not a huge deal to do that. I think he would do that, I would imagine.
Well, and I mean, he's a $18 million contracts for 1 year. That's over. I mean, he didn't live up to those expectations for the Braves this year at all. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but then again, we all wanted him back here last year, and the Phillies didn't make it happen.
Well, But I don't blame him on that one because that's a lot of money. If they gave him that much money, that'd be silly. So now might be the perfect time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's another team out there that is willing to give him a decent contract that's in a more reliable playoff atmosphere, that might hurt things. But like Anthony said, I'm sure at some point he's going to end up having at least a one-day contract to finish his career here in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And somebody will be waiting along Patterson Avenue with a sign, right?
Oh, most definitely. She'll be there at the crack of dawn.
Yep. Very cool. Hey, John, let's jump over to our fantasy football because I know you're working hard at recruiting members and keeping everybody up to date with who's playing and who's not playing. So why don't you take a couple of minutes and give us a quick recap on that?
All right. Well, we got right at the moment we have about 33 players in for this week already, and there's a couple more I think that came on since I started had to shut down for the show here. It's an easy game. You just go on to this Fans View Facebook page, and you see a list right on there. I pin it to the top now, so it's easy to find. I accidentally did it somehow. I don't know how I did it, and now I figured out how to do it. So it worked out a little bit better. So now it's at the top, so we don't have to keep scrolling down. So you just go on there, and it tells you all the names. You pick one out of each of the 14 selections, I have them marked off. For who's on the bye this week or who you can't pick, because for those who don't know, you can't pick back-to-back weeks the same player as the player for the viewers team as the majority. Since we the host that are playing you, give you guys the first choice to kind of make it a little bit more fair for selections. You guys get first choice, so you can't pick it everyone at the same time. And then you just have to watch, a couple people. Zach Ertz is still on the list. A couple people that had picked him this week, and I had to let them know that he was hurt and he couldn't play this week, so they changed their picks. Because every 2 weeks I'll change out the list once the picks are in there. You go on there; it's free. Carl's Cards supplies the goods. We got this week. It's Wilbert Montgomery photo that's being given away to the winner, and the winner we draw on Tuesday nights or Tuesday afternoons, 1 o'clock at the store here. Whoever picks out of the viewers team, whoever the player is that scored the most points, whoever picked that player throughout the votes during the week gets put into a drawing, and that's we end up picking the winner that way to make it fair for everybody. So, and then we also have the individual scores going as well. So that seems to be fun. People are interested in, wanting to come after the top spot there in the scoring there. So you got more competitive there a little bit, and then you also have the fun part too. So it makes it all fun. You get to learn. I don't know how many people we've spoken to, Carl, that come in and be like, "Oh, I'm learning a lot more," and they like it. When they talk to me about it, how much fun they're, especially this year with the pandemic going on, how much more fun they're having with it. So it's fun.
Good. Good. All right.
Who picks
We're
for the
shift
host?
gears a little bit.
Carl's up this week.
Oh, okay. Thank God. I thought it was me for a second there.
You're next
No.
week.
It's me this
All right.
week, and you guys are next week. So,
Oh boy, we have to redeem ourselves next week.
Definitely.
Okay.
we're going to shift gears a little bit and take some time out to Lauren. I'm putting you on the hot seat because you got a big event coming up, and I need to hear all about it. Our viewers need to hear all about it. You guys are doing some great things out in Berks and Lancaster County, for the animals, and I know this is a major yearly fundraiser. So take as much time as you need. Tell us all about it and how everybody can jump in and be involved.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. So for those of you guys who don't already know, I work for an organization called Humane Pennsylvania. It's an animal welfare nonprofit. We operate the Humane Society of Berks County and the Humane League of Lancaster County, along with 2 nonprofit vet hospitals and a slew of free programs and services to those in the community. Our mission is to build the best community anywhere to be an animal. So instead of surrendering your animal to us in a shelter, we would prefer to provide you with the vaccines and the food that you need to care for that animal instead of bringing it to us. So I'm sure you guys have seen us ask for pet food. That's exactly what that program is for. Spike's Pet Pantry is what it's called. And throughout the pandemic, we saw a 575% increase in clients. So we went from serving about 30 a week to serving well over 200 a week. And that's on a weekly basis. We provide enough pet food for them for the month. So as you can imagine, it's difficult to keep those shelves stocked. We've gotten truckloads of donations from places like Purina and Hills and things like that. But those only go as far. So we need those constant donations of pet food. But separate from that, our organization as a whole, like I mentioned, operates 2 animal shelters and 2 vet hospitals. And as you can imagine, that comes with a lot of expenses. That comes with a fairly big operating budget, but it does a lot of good work for the community. Throughout the course of a year, we see about 50,000 animals come through our door between both shelters and both vet hospitals. So our annual event is an art auction. And it's not just exactly art, so don't be scared away if art's not really your thing. It was supposed to be May 16th. Obviously, that was postponed and rescheduled for November 14th. That has now become a virtually live event. So almost exactly like this setup here, the night of November 14th, you'll be able to watch via this link, me and my coworkers, our CEO, chat about the different pieces that are up for auction and what we've got going on. Like my dad mentioned, it is one of our biggest fundraisers. It normally brings in about $100,000 for the organization. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to hit that this year, just with everything that's going on. We are grateful to have $30,000 in sponsorship money already committed, so that's really great for us. But November 14th is our virtually live event. I will certainly share that as much as possible for you guys if you're interested in joining and watching and being a part of that. But the more exciting part is that this Friday, the auction link goes live. So I was just finishing up that today, and there are 88 different items that'll be available through this online auction link. Some of it is different, paintings, pottery, glass pieces, that type of stuff. But then there's also a lot of really good packages. We have Penn State tickets. We have a trip to Pittsburgh, a trip to Chicago, one to New York City, a trip to Atlantis for 3 days and 4 nights. All kinds of just really good packages with like liquor baskets, things like that. So it's a really nice, well-rounded auction that I think there's something for everyone. And then all that money that's raised supports our organization, helps us, with all those expenses and operating costs that we have to basically give animals a second chance in their forever homes, or, a second chance at life pretty much. So that's our big fundraiser. That's coming up this Friday. The auction link goes live. And I would be happy to share that stuff with you guys if you're interested in bidding. It's super easy to bid online. You can bid from anywhere in the country. Some of this stuff won't be able to be shipped just because of the size of it. But if you're local to the area or you're close to my dad's store, I can obviously certainly get that stuff to you guys, no problem. If you're close to Lancaster or Reading or somewhere in between, and you're the winning bidder, I'd be happy to make arrangements to get that stuff to you guys. But 88 really good pieces. The guy next to me put in a lot of extra work this year for me. He had a lot of downtime just with not having a season, and he really busted his ass and made a lot of these packages happen that otherwise wouldn't. So I'm certain that we'll do better than ever this year just because of his commitment to that. So that was awesome, because I would have never had the time to invest in that. in all that. And he really pulled a lot of this together. So there is a reason there's 3 different Pittsburgh packages, because you know where his interests and his likes for this auction. There's a wrestling package. What else am I forgetting?
Basically everything I like, I put into this.
Yep, pretty much. So, but no, it's a really good auction, really good event. So I'll certainly share it with you guys and definitely check it out. And like I said, all the money raised supports the animals that are in our care.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I know you've, how many years are you there now?
About 4.5.
Okay. You've been doing a lot of great work, you and the entire organization. So, anything that we can do to help, we're on board with it. And I think, John, starting hopefully next week, you can get that banner across the bottom. Maybe we can add that to the banner with all that necessary information so that we can flood our page with all that as well. Because the more people see it, the more interested they're going to be. I know there's a bunch of sports stuff as well. Because I know I had my hand in a few things, and we're a big animal family. We're a big sports family. So it all works together, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, you gave us that really nice Aaron Nola baseball. And that goes along with an Aaron Nola Yingling stand-up, which I can only imagine is not something most people can get their hands on. It's kind of similar to like a cardboard cutout, essentially, like the Darren Dalton ones that have floated around for a while. But obviously this one features Aaron Nola, but it's more of like a cylinder-shaped thing, so it's freestanding, but kind of that similar concept where it's like made of a cardboard material and features Aaron Nola. And then we've also added a Joe Girardi autographed baseball to go with that. We have that one-of-a-kind, unique Vince Papale original artwork piece that you gave and was signed by Vince as well. And then in that Penn State package that features 2 tickets to a game next season, also comes with a John Cappelletti autographed jersey. So they're just kind of some of the few things. But like I mentioned, we have stuff for everyone.
And that all goes live Friday. Do you have a time on that?
So it actually goes live technically Thursday night because we have what we call a preview party. That's also virtual, and it's open to all of our sponsors and all of the artists who donated. So it's not a public event necessarily. But if you're up late Thursday night and you're like, man, I want to see that auction, it will be live, but otherwise, we'll widely broadcast that on Friday to everyone.
Excellent. Good job. Very, very, very proud of what you do. Let's talk a little bit because we've got a friend. We've got a really good, close friend who adopted a dog, rescued out of Lancaster. Let's talk, just take a couple minutes how that all works, as far as, adopting one of these animals.
Sure. Frank, our good friend Frank and Danny, they were interested in adding another pug to their family. And conveniently, the day that you and Mom came to visit the Lancaster shelter, we were walking through and there was this little pug in one of the kennels. And you sent a picture to Frank and said, he's not even on the adoption floor yet. If you're interested, Lauren will talk to the shelter director and try to make that happen. And we were able to do that. He never hit the adoption floor. And he's been with Frank now for probably 4 months or so, I would say. Settling in nicely. Frank tells me he's got quite the personality, which is always the case when an animal comes out of the shelter. They've always got a good story to tell from where they came from, what they've been through, and how they got there in the first place. To when they finally settle into the home that they know is going to be there forever and not take them back to that shelter. So I know he's taken a really good liking to Danny, which is great. To have an animal companion like that is great for anyone. But I know Danny really enjoys it. And so Frank and Danny are very grateful for us hooking them up with that pug. We don't get pugs a lot. The rumor is somewhat true that we get more pit bulls, pit bull mixes into shelters. That doesn't mean that they're bad. That doesn't mean that, they're terrible animals and you shouldn't adopt them. Every animal deserves a second chance, regardless of where they came from before. Our shelter is also filled with Chihuahuas. We also just got done doing a transport actually with 9 puppies coming from Puerto Rico. So those puppies won't be available for adoption probably for another week or 2. They have to be spayed and neutered. But as soon as they're ready, they'll go up for adoption, and people are really anticipating those. A little backstory, they were pulled from Puerto Rico because that island alone has over 1 million stray cats and dogs wandering around. Keep in mind that the population there is about 3 million. So 1/3 of the population there is technically animals. But they haven't really been able to get a good handle on spaying and neutering, breeding, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of excess animals. And so as much as we can help kind of move those animals out of there, an airplane transported about 130 animals from Puerto Rico out of there last week, and we were able to get 9 of those puppies that we'll then send into foster home, and then they'll go up for adoption. But it's not easy to do that kind of work because you need to find a shelter to take those 130 animals. So we just took a small portion, obviously, but it's a $60,000 flight for those animals to come from Puerto Rico to Philadelphia to then go into their forever home. So a lot of hard-earned money goes into that. A lot of hard work goes into that, but it's worth it when the animal finally makes its way to its final destination.
One last conversation piece before we break over to some Philly sports. How is the facility in Reading coming? I know you periodically put up pictures. How close are we to opening that new facility?
It'll probably open to the public by mid-January. We hit about a 7-week hiatus during the pandemic where we weren't able to do anything. We had applied with the state as an essential business so we could resume construction, but unfortunately that was denied. So we had to hit the pause button for about 7 weeks. So that set us back. They did put the date stone in the building, which says 2020. So I would imagine they'll wrap construction before the end of the year, but we won't have it open to the public probably until middle of January, just so our staff can really kind of get their feet on the ground there, figure out where everything is, because the project was a $2.1 million shelter rebuild. Only a quarter of the building remained from what we demolished, so it's essentially a rebuild from top to bottom. It's not much bigger, and it doesn't have more cage space, which a lot of people find fascinating. But in the animal welfare industry, we're not trending in the direction of needing more kennels and cages, not like it was 10 years ago. So we didn't add any more to it. We just better established facilities. Just the whole thing just needed a new facelift. So that's open to the public in mid-January.
Very nice. Very nice. Congrats and good luck with everything moving forward. And I know you're working your butt off. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, I don't want to leave you out of the show. John, you got a comment for Lauren before I?
One thing, Lauren, is there with the 88 items, obviously everybody's not going to be able to get something. Is there a way that people can donate money as well?
Sure.
To help with that as well in there, and if so,
yeah, absolutely. Our website's humanepa.org, and there is a donate tab there, and you are always more than welcome, whether it's event related or not. Donations are critical to our organization, obviously. There's a lot of misconception that the Humane Society of the United States and the ASPCA trickle down money to their affiliates, but that's not the case. So we do not receive any funding from the Humane Society of the United States. So those really sad sob commercials that you see and that you donate to is fine. And you should continue to donate to that because they do great work. But that does not trickle down to me as a Humane Society of Berks County or a Humane League of Lancaster County. They operate as a completely separate entity. So we're not government funded. We don't receive anything statewide, none of that. So we are solely funded on donations from corporations, grants, individuals, events, that type of stuff. So absolutely, donations are always accepted through our website, whether it's directly for my art auction or not. It's always there.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So congrats again. And I don't have to tell you to keep up the good work. You're married to this organization. You're married to animals and sports, and it's one big happy family. And I know you love what you do. So, it's passionate people like yourself, and not because you're related. You know what I mean? It's you can see it. You put a lot of time and energy. It's not an 8 to 5 job. And speaking of 8 to 5 jobs, the guy next to you. So give us an update on minor league baseball. Where are we at? Give us some good news.
I don't really have anything just yet.
Make something up.
I wish I had anything. There was 20 of us counting inventory today to keep ourselves busy. No, I don't know. I think they're waiting for this World Series to end. We get our updates in the morning meetings where we think we might be, and it's just we keep hearing that the negotiations are going well. I don't know what that means. No one really knows what that means. I'm hoping that in the next week or two, once the World Series is over, we get down to business and figure out a schedule, which is the first step in the process. But, we had an Eastern League meeting Friday of last week. All the salespeople talked, all the ticket people talked, and everyone's sort of in the same boat. I'm just fortunate that we all have jobs and all that in Reading, because some of those teams, they couldn't even fill out their meeting spots, because if a general manager's in a general manager's meeting, he also or she also can't be in the ticket meeting and the promotions meeting and every other meeting. So we're in a really good spot compared to these other teams. We just gotta hopefully get an answer in the next month or so, just so we can start moving forward for next year. But yeah, I think there's, on some people's minds, there's bigger things coming. So once we get past an election and this World Series, hopefully we can get some answers.
Very good. Very good. Not what the answer I was looking for, but I know, there's a lot of, business that goes into this, and it'll all work itself out. I just hope it doesn't hurt too many more people along the way. But do you have a vested interest in the World Series? I know the Pirates aren't in it. The Phillies aren't in it.
They were close, but they didn't make it this year.
Very close.
You know what? I always root for the most part for the underdog. And so I got to root for Tampa Bay. I mean, to have a payroll like that and make it this far, whether they win or they don't, that's extremely impressive. But I wouldn't be opposed to winning as well. I mean, they haven't won in a really long time. I know they've certainly spent enough to win it, but deep down, I'd hope Tampa Bay can do it.
John, what do you got?
I'm with Anthony. I'd like to see the Rays win it. It didn't look good after yesterday's game, but the Dodgers. I just don't like. Maybe it's just because it's a West Coast thing or something. I don't know. Spending the money, you're spending to buy it, because I don't know that you can do it that way. But they also develop their players too. So, I like to see the Rays do it. That would be a cool story.
But as a Pirates fan, because they don't spend a lot either. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you want the Dodgers to win? Because doesn't that make the case for Bob Nutting and the ownership group there to say, well, Tampa Bay won and they don't pay their guys anything. So we're just going to keep doing what we've done and we'll eventually get there too.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference. I mean, Tampa Bay knows what they're doing with their money. They know how to draft properly. They know how to keep the guys. They just do it right from the top to the bottom. And, even if we had $100 million, I don't know that our team is set up properly for that. But I'm hoping that if they do win, it just shows that it's possible with a small budget. You just have to do it properly.
Yeah,
a couple of Pirates are playing for Tampa Bay too.
They sure are. I got a bunch of their autographs when they were in Double-A, and they are gone now. They are long gone, which is pure Pirates. But that's what I'm used to at this point.
Fortunately, Glasnow didn't have a great day yesterday, but he's sure good pitcher.
I would take him any day of the week, though. He's a great pitcher.
Exactly. No, I'm with you there. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Rays have definitely they got a pretty sharp GM because he's made a few trades, and scalped a few other GMs along the way for a couple of these players. I know they're big into homegrown, but they've got a few guys that they brought in that have just they're going to be looking for big contracts one day. So I don't know if it'll happen down there, but it's going to happen somewhere. So I hope the Rays are ready for that.
I mean, Game 7 of the ALCS must have hurt too with Garrett Cole and Glasnow pitching against each other.
Yep.
That was,
Yeah, I mean, all those guys, that last trade separately, everyone gets mad at the general manager of the Pirates for making that trade with Glasnow and for Chris Archer. I don't know if I blame him on that one. That's probably the one that did him in as far as his job and everyone's job. But at that point, they looked like they were about to make the playoffs before the All-Star break, and they got Chris Archer, who was known to be a great pitcher, and it just blew up in their face. He's been horrendous for us, and he's been hurt and all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, they made the playoffs 3 years. It was neat, but there's a very short window in that organization to win, and they just couldn't do it. So they had to sort of rebuild it all.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun series. Right now, I mean, if the Dodgers are not toying with the Rays, I mean, it could be over early. But I don't think so. I think the Rays are. They've positioned themselves to, for a good 6-7 game series. What do you guys think?
I was just going to say that I think 6 or 7 myself. Yesterday was ugly, but I think the manager there for the Rays, went a little out of script and let Glasnow pitch a little bit longer than he normally does, and that last inning got him, where he couldn't use his bullpen as much. So. I mean, it's one of those things. I still think it's going to be a long series, though.
Yeah. It's hard.
I think they'll be okay. I think, I forget who said it. Maybe one of the announcers or one of the people that were interviewed. That they don't seem, too rattled by it being the World Series, even though there are a lot of young guys. It's probably lost one game, but I think they're going to bounce right back. And I'm not sure if they'll win it or not, but they're definitely, I feel like, going to go to a full 6 or 7 games and show the Dodgers that they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Just look like how they battled the Astros. I mean, they were up 3-1 to the Astros, and then and it went to a Game 7 there. The Astros came back, and then they fought back and won Game 7. So, it's not. I don't think they're going to be fazed by it. You're going to lose games in a series. You just can't lose 4. You just gotta, you gotta go out and win 4 before you lose 4. So,
pretty much. What are we thinking? What's everybody hearing? I know I've heard, a couple of different rumors for spring training and different things, and it sounds like the Phillies are going to close their facility down there at the minor league complex and they're not going to have anybody. No fans, the players are going to be bussed in and dropped off at the gate. Is that pretty much where we're heading with this for next year?
I don't have any knowledge of that for sure, but I would guess that that's the case. I think they're just going to try to be extra precautious with it this year. That definitely sucks. We were supposed to leave right before this year, and then probably can't go next year again too.
Yeah.
But if that gets you through a full season, and that, that's what you have to do. I don't know. They still have to talk about whether they want to do a bubble situation next year. There are so many things they need to talk about when the season ends. But yeah, I that wouldn't shock me if we weren't able to get into spring training next year. That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, well, they're closed down there now for the instructionals. Like I said, the players get bussed in, the food's brought in, and employees have to go to the main gate to bring the stuff in. They've cut off the outside world. No press, no media, nobody, nothing. So they're doing their best to stay clean with this. So I would think the rest of baseball's doing the same.
I mean, to give you an idea, like in those Eastern League meetings that we had, coming from like the sales department, I'm wanting to see what other teams are doing to increase their sales for next year, doing things to put people in the seats. And a lot of times, our team doesn't really do this, but a lot of times, a lot of the other teams, and I guess no fault to their own, they fall back to the, woe is us sort of thing. We got to worry about all this COVID stuff. So I don't think it's going to be, done very quickly. I think the other teams have, these huge ideas in place for it. And a lot of people think that it's going to hang around here for a little bit. We try not to focus on it. We try to focus on what we have control over. But, it was constant part of conversation last week. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, all we can do is keep our fingers crossed and hope that things clean themselves out, and hopefully we get a vaccine sooner than later, and move forward with all of this. Talking about moving forward, let's talk a little bit about Eagles football, because we got a game coming up tomorrow night on a short week. I don't know. I don't know what you guys know, but can we field a healthy team? Can we find enough guys to play?
Got a couple of guys back. Lane Johnson's going to be back, and Deshaun Jackson's going to be back this week. So that should be helpful, at least a little bit, getting two guys back, and hopefully Jackson will last more than about 3 or 4 plays. We need Lane Johnson in there for that offensive line, because the Giants have another good defensive line themselves that they got. They can put some pressure on the quarterback. So we got to be careful about that. Even though they're 1-5 themselves, it's another divisional game. Could be an ugly Thursday night game. It hurts that we don't have Miles Sanders, because typically on the Thursday night games during the season, other than the first game of the year, it's more of a running game type of thing, and your running backs usually take over. So it's a good thing both teams don't have good running backs right at the moment. The Eagles do stop the run, so hopefully they'll help out.
Yeah, it would have been a nice Penn State thing with Barkley versus Miles Sanders. That would have been that would have been a fun matchup. But maybe Lauren's other guy, Corey Clement, can get in the lineup and regain some of that Super Bowl magic. Kind of hasn't been seen. I mean, I know he's a special teams guy, but somebody's got to run the ball, right?
He hasn't really been around for this year, last year. I mean, I know he's been hurt, but
I don't feel like they give him a proper chance. I don't know if something happened that we don't know about, or they
don't seem to like him anymore.
Yeah, they're like way down on him. I never see him doing anything.
Yeah, he's become pretty much a special teams player. I know he got on the field a little bit Sunday, but yeah, he's fallen out of favor. I'm not real sure why they re-signed him if they weren't going to use him other than special teams, I guess. John, you have any info on him?
Well, it just seems when Doug Peterson sees a 1 yard run or a -1 yard run, he kind of goes away from that person. So maybe that's unfortunately one of the things. And like Anthony said, he doesn't get a proper chance. You're going to have a couple of those runs, and then you need another 3 or 4 runs after that to break one. I don't know that we commit to the run enough. So I don't know that maybe that hurts them, especially having the 3-back situation. They like Scott a lot for the 4-minute drill when they do their 4-minute drill. So
He's falling out as well. I mean, you don't see a whole lot there either.
Well, no. Well, that's because they have to rely on Carson to pull a rabbit out of a hat to win games anymore, and that's what I'm afraid of a little bit this week because it's going to be a game that you hopefully could do a little bit with the run. They're going to pass a lot. And hopefully it keeps Carson Wentz healthy, but it might be something that's going to hurt him. And talk about that. I think they're going to try to filter in Jalen Hurts a lot more this week, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but.
Yeah, I know you and I have talked. You're not a big fan of these option quarterbacks and whatnot. I get excited because I like to see offense. I like to see players in motion. It just that last play at the end of the game, going for the 2, just I just shook my head. I'm still shaking my head over that. And,
yeah.
There's just so many options, and that play had no shot from the very beginning. I don't know what you're thinking, but I was not a fan.
Well, I mean that was like we were talking earlier this week. It was like that was the time to get Jalen Hurts into the ball game.
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna do something, that's when you be creative with it. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. I just don't think that. Even with New Orleans, when they do it with their guy, it just you only have a shelf window, shelf span, or whatever you want to say, short span there that you're going to get a decent play out of it, because you only got 4 or 5 different plays. You're going to run right or you're going to run left, depending on how things go, and it's not like you really throw back. That throwback play was horrible going to Wentz, and then that was just ridiculous. He did help us get that, Miles Sanders run that ended up getting Miles Sanders hurt, but it opened up that touchdown there. Just having him on the field, there's positives to it for a short period of time, but I don't know that you could run your whole offense that way, long term. I mean, it might help us, maybe for this year, a couple spots here and there, but it's not going to be a long-term thing, and that's my only thing with that. It's you're gonna get the once all these plays are put out there, defenses are going to be able to catch on to them, and you're going to figure it out
for sure. That's
my only drawback for it.
I don't think the game's necessarily like a must-win that everyone's been talking about, but it's probably as close as you could get now. Luckily, in this division, it doesn't necessarily, mean it's a must-win. But I don't know, man. The Giants didn't look horrendous last week. They got a lot of young players that'll probably be good in another year or two. So you can't take it lightly. You need like a big win here to get everyone going.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you, Anthony. I one of these 2 Giants games I could see us stumbling, and this week might be the one, just because of the circumstances of being a Thursday night game, coming off of all these injuries that we've had. It might be something to watch out for. But this is a game we need our defense to step up, and because that Giants offense isn't that good. So
you'll be able to see early if they come out lethargic. It'll be a long night. They have the energy and put up a couple touchdowns quick, so you feel good about the game.
Exactly. And we get to 24 points, we should be good. But they got a decent defense themselves, so you're gonna have to be careful. I just this is a game Doug Peterson's got to win for us. So let them show me something here.
Quick comment from Sunday. I guess they're letting fans back in, and one of our good friends, both in life and on the show, Sean, was in the stands, and he said it just it wasn't the same. It wasn't even close to being real, because they're just you've got fans mixed in amongst cutouts. And, I know from a TV aspect, it didn't look right. I just can't imagine And Sean had sent me a couple of pictures, during the contest, and it just, I don't know. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm thinking, if you can't load up the stadium, then keep it shut down until we get this thing figured out.
It's just very odd. You can't really get into it when the next closest person is 200 feet from you. And,
right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're going to keep it going as long as they can to make a couple bucks. But yeah, it's just not the same. I don't know that I'd want to go right now until it's somewhat back to normal.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Weird. Especially, I guess the number is 7,500, but that includes everybody. That includes, the people working at the stadium, players, everybody, comes out of that 7,500. So you could be down to what, 5,000, 5,500, fans.
Yeah.
So,
there was a fight though. We had a fight. The fans that were there were back to normal.
Of course. It's Philly. Why not?
I think actually one of the fights, the cardboard cutout won a fight.
Too funny. Too funny. But that's sports, right? Sports 2020. That's what we're dealing with. Basketball finished up. The Lakers are the champs. Hockey finished up. You got the Lightning are the champs. We've come down to baseball with the World Series. You got the Dodgers versus the Rays. They're playing in Arlington, Texas.
One of those teams are going to double up. One of those cities are going to double up with the championship this year.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, definitely.
What do you think about the Sixers with this Jameer Nelson? We weren't specific about what he's going to do. And it sounds like an Elton Brand move too. Does that mean he's good to go now? That was a little confusing to me. I thought he might be on his way out.
I'll tell you what, I think he's a man in charge, because I think he was fully responsible for getting Doc Rivers here. Just because of their friendship and playing, relationship over the years. And Jameer's a local guy. He still lives, locally. He's going to be a scout for the Sixers. And he's also going to be the assistant GM down in Delaware at the Delaware Bluecoats. So, I don't know what if they made up a job for him, but I like the name. I like, and you never know. Maybe he'll be our backup point guard. Why not, right? He's
very knowledgeable with the sport, so
right.
Can't help.
So,
I wonder what Brand's leash is. Did they give him a couple more years? Is it one more year to see what happens? Is it because the ownership is a little more expanded with the Sixers than some teams? There's a lot of people involved in it. If it was not that the Sixers don't have a good following, but if it was a bigger sport, would there be more of an eye on Elton Brand? I don't know. I feel like something should have been done there, and maybe they are, and we just don't know about it. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Hey, real quick, while we're talking hoops, what'd you think of the Stan Van Gundy move today? Getting
the Pelicans.
Getting the Pelicans job, right? Did I butcher his name? Stan.
No, that's right.
Did I get it? Did I get it? I mean,
I like his brother. Growing up in New York, I liked his brother a lot more as a coach, but I think it's going to take a lot for him to get off the. He's been announcing probably 15, 20 years at this point.
Yeah, he's not giving that gig up.
You're gonna have to give him a lot of money not to do that. But I think Stan was okay when he was with the Magic. For the Sixers, I still like the coach that you got in Doc in comparison. But Stan's a solid coach, I think.
Yeah, well, good. Good for them. I heard Lauren's other boy. Lauren, you got an awful lot of favorites in the sports world. JJ Redick was very instrumental in get it and put in a good word. So I guess players still do rule, throughout the game, bringing coaches and managers and their inputs favored very heavy.
did we miss anything in the Flyers world over the last week that you
No, nothing. Zero. Nothing. They're disappointing the hell out of me. They've made. They had a good draft. They had a good draft. They signed the kids. I believe they signed Eric Gustafson, if I didn't butcher his name, to a $3 million 1-year deal. He's going to be a veteran defenseman. He could be, he could be just an extra piece. But no, they haven't done anything. Nothing. Very disappointed. I don't know if it's the cap world that we live in. But
maybe they think they're good to go. I mean, they got pretty, maybe they think they're good. I don't necessarily think that they are, but maybe they're just waiting. I don't know.
I hate playing that waiting game. I like, what some other teams did, have done. You need to add, and if that means, you need to subtract from addition, if that makes any sense. Maybe you need to get rid of a couple of pieces that just haven't gotten it done here in Philly, and moved on from them. But we'll see. There's still time. Joe Stinger, tons of moves around the NHL. I mean, goaltenders are, they're making a ton of money. They've gotten some pretty fat contracts. So a lot of teams are making moves. The Flyers just aren't one of them right now.
Is there someone that's made a move that you wish the Flyers would have done, or has it not fit in with their plans right now, you think?
There's been a couple of guys, but from what I'm reading, the Flyers are tied with their salary cap. They don't have a lot of flexibility. They would have to move, a couple of people to make something work. When they lost Matt Niskanen, that hurt. And, I don't know that Eric Gustafson is going to replace him. We'll see. But, not what I was looking for so far in the offseason. John, you've been pretty quiet tonight. You want to start us with our takeaways, or do you want to just blow up the whole show? What do you got for us?
Oh, we're good. Well, my takeaway is hopefully let's give Sue some wishes that she gets better quickly here, and then just to not to be a pain with our fantasy football. Facebook's been a little bit of a pain themselves, not letting us tag as well. So I'm sending out messages to everybody. So hopefully I'm not annoying anybody to get your votes in. But I know some of the people have liked it because they haven't been getting our notifications on there for whatever reason. So it's been helpful. So I try not to bother you too much by sending you the messages, but just so you can remind you to get your votes in because it's been busy. You have until 8 tonight, which I'm sure will be a little bit later because by the time I get out of here and get home and stuff and record all the other votes. So you'll have a little bit of extra time tonight. And, I'll probably have everything posted, either later tonight or early tomorrow morning before the games for this week's matchup against Carl. So get your votes in. Hopefully Sue will be able to vote and, make sure you give her medicine so that she can think properly when she's making her votes, so she doesn't have any excuses because she's undefeated against the Henderson family. So let's make sure she stays that way.
She's listening.
Sure,
I'm getting it live, and I'm getting it in on the other side of the room as well. So I'm getting it on both ends. Hey, real quick. Sue's medical update is everything's encouraging. She's doing some great therapy work. John, I can't thank you enough for covering the back end of the day at the store for me so I can come home and, take care of things here and as like she just said, make her crazy. No, she's
welcome to my world, Sue.
All right, so I can stay at the shop and she can no, that's not an option. That's not an option. She's got a lot of work to do. I mean, she's been through a heck of a lot, and we got a ton of doctor visits, lined up next week. So hopefully we get some good results and we get some good positive vibes from the docs, and she continues to, exercise and do everything that she needs to do. And that's my takeaway. Doctors, I don't know what we do without them. They're beautiful people. So I thank all the doctors and nurses and everybody that's been involved so far. So, take care of your body. That's all I got to say. If something ain't right, you know what I mean? Tell somebody, get it checked out. Lauren, what do you got?
Yeah, same concept, just all the best positive vibes and prayers to Mom as she embarks on this road to recovery, and gets better and stronger every single day. Yeah. And I applaud you just as much and everything that you've taken on this last week and everything that you've done. I mean, you've been a rock through this whole thing. So, yeah, without John, I don't know what we would do. And, I applaud you for everything that you've been through this last week with her.
AP, you're gonna take us out. What do you got?
I'm hoping we could watch a Rays win tonight. That would be great. And then I'm excited for Lauren's auction, so I could bid on some of the stuff that I helped get.
Very cool.
That's all I got. Hopefully we have some better news in the next week or two, some updates for you. But right now it's just a little quiet till this is all over with.
All right. Well, Lauren, best of luck with everything with the art auction. Anything that we can do, get that information to John, so next week we can scroll the banners down at the bottom.
Sure.
We can support you even more. So if you guys are, last minute, shout out to Mario. I know he's got a big, change in his life that he's going through, and we want to wish him the best as well. I'm 99% sure he'll be back with us next week. So I think that's all we got. It's a great show. Thanks everybody. I appreciate all the comments, questions, and all the positive vibes for Sue. And guys, keep up the great work. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Help out Humane Pennsylvania by any donations you can as well. Go onto their website and help out. They need help this year. So, all right. See you guys next week.
All right. Take care.